This free step-by-step video comes to you directly from Haynes, creators of the world's best repair manuals. Fix your car or truck the right way with our accurate and reliable information at your side. You can complete more than 200 jobs on this vehicle when you purchase the complete online manual at Haynes.com.
Thermostat replacement. Open the door and pull the hood release lever located on the driver's side kick panel. Slide the hood safety latch, then raise the hood upwards and support it with the prop rod. Loosen and remove the remote negative cable clamp bolt, then disconnect the cable from the body bracket and secure it out of the way and wrap it in electrical tape to prevent accidental reconnection. Cooling system draining. With the engine completely cool, remove the expansion tank cap. Note that the cap may be hard to turn by hand. If this is the case, a pair of large channel locking pliers may be used to help turn the cap. Move a large container under the radiator drain to catch the coolant. Attach a hose to the drain fitting spout, if available, to direct the coolant into the container. Open the drain fitting with a pair of needle nose pliers. Allow time for the coolant to drain completely. While the coolant is draining, check the condition of the radiator hoses, heater hoses, and clamps. Replace any damaged clamps or hoses. Once the system has drained completely, close the valve and remove the hose. Open the door and pull the hood release lever located on the driver's side kick panel. Slide the hood safety latch, then raise the hood upwards and support it with the prop rod. Loosen and remove the remote negative cable clamp bolt, then disconnect the cable from the body bracket and secure it out of the way and wrap it in electrical tape to prevent accidental reconnection. Apply the parking brake. Chock the rear wheels to prevent the vehicle from rolling. Loosen the front wheel lug nuts. Place a floor jack under the unibody side pinch weld. Raise the front of the vehicle, then support it with a jack stand placed under the indicated supporting marker. Repeat this on the opposite side where applicable. Loosen the right front wheel lug nuts. Remove the right front wheel. Remove the various bolts that retain the front engine undershield. With the front engine undershield removed, remove the rear undershield. Remove the roll restrictor mount bolt at the subframe bracket. With the wrench placed on the drive belt tensioner from below, rotate the tensioner and slip the drive belt off the alternator pulley from above. This step may be easier with the help of an assistant. Pull back the protective cover and remove the alternator positive terminal nut. Then disconnect the positive cable from the alternator. Disconnect the electrical connector from the alternator. Pry off the coolant hose bracket. Remove the alternator upper mounting nut and bolt. Remove the alternator lower mounting bolt. If this bolt is hard to access, raise the engine slightly. Remove the alternator upper mounting stud. Wearing heavy-duty gloves to avoid injury, rotate the alternator face down and allow it to temporarily rest in place. For easier removal, it may help to remove the washer reservoir neck plastic bracket. Carefully guide the alternator out of the engine. More room can be created for the alternator to pass through by pushing the engine slightly rearward. Make sure that the jack holding up the engine is secure. Release the clip, then disconnect the coolant hose quick connector from the coolant shutoff solenoid. A screwdriver may be helpful by prying the connection loose. Expect coolant loss. Rags and a drain pan should be placed below. Depress the safety tab with a screwdriver and disconnect the electrical connector from the solenoid. Remove the solenoid mounting bolts. Remove the shutoff solenoid. Slide back the hose clamps and disconnect the coolant hoses from the thermostat housing. Remove the thermostat housing mounting bolts and remove the thermostat housing. Clean the engine mating surface from all debris. Clean the shutoff solenoid mating surfaces from debris. Remove the thermostat O-rings. Clean the O-ring recesses, then install new O-rings to the thermostat. Lubricate the O-rings with a light film of coolant. Install the thermostat housing and mounting bolts. When installing the lower mounting bolts, a magnetic tool and a small mirror tool may help with guiding the bolts into the holes while avoiding dropping the bolts. Tighten the thermostat housing mounting bolts in a crisscross pattern to the specified torque setting. Clean the house mating surfaces from debris and inspect the coolant hoses for deterioration. Replace any damaged hoses or clamps. Install the coolant hoses to the thermostat housing and secure them with the clamps. Install the coolant shutoff solenoid valve. Tighten the bolts securely. Connect the electrical connector. Connect the coolant hose quick connector and secure it with the retaining clip. Install the idler pulley onto the alternator. Tighten the idler pulley bolt securely. Guide the alternator into the engine and onto the mounting bracket. Install the upper alternator stud. Screw the upper stud into place and install the upper bolt. Install the alternator lower mounting bolt, screwing it into place. Tighten the upper stud to the specified torque setting. Install the upper mounting nut. Tighten the alternator mounting fasteners to the specified torque setting. If a torque wrench cannot fit into the space required to tighten the lower mounting bolt, tighten the lower mounting bolt securely. Connect the alternator electrical connections. Tighten the positive cable nut and secure the protective rubber cover over the terminal. Position the drive belt in place on the alternator pulley, as well as the remaining pulleys. Working from below, rotate the tensioner to allow the belt to be slipped onto the pulley, then release the tensioner, applying tension to the belt. Make sure the belt is fitted securely and evenly into all the pulley grooves. Install the windshield washer reservoir neck bracket. Install any coolant hose brackets that were removed. Tighten the engine mount studs to the specified torque setting. Using the correct routing, install the drive belt onto the pulleys, then install the tensioner and mounting bolts. Tighten the drive belt tensioner bolts to the specified torque setting. Install the engine mount and fasteners, then lower the engine slightly and align the bolt head marks that are imprinted on the mount. Tighten the fasteners securely. Tighten the engine mount fasteners to the specified torque setting. Remove the floor jack. Install the roll restrictor mount bolt at the subframe bracket. Tighten the roll restrictor bolt to the specified torque setting. Install the rear, then the front engine undershield, and tighten the fastener securely by hand to prevent the threaded plastic from cross-threading. Install the right front wheel. Lower the front of the vehicle to the ground. Tighten the wheel lug nuts to the specified torque setting. Unwrap the electrical tape from the remote negative cable terminal, then connect the cable to the body bracket with the bolt and tighten the bolt securely. Cooling system refilling. Close and tighten the radiator drain fitting. Install the rear, then the front engine undershield, and tighten the fastener securely by hand to prevent the threaded plastic from cross-threading. Lower the front of the vehicle to the ground. Using the proper type of funnel, slowly add the correct type of new coolant to the coolant expansion tank until the level is up at the max mark. Install the expansion tank cap. Start and run the engine in a well-ventilated area for about a minute, then increase the engine to 3,500 RPM for 30 seconds. Turn the engine off and let it cool for 1 minute. With the engine still sufficiently cold, slowly open the expansion tank cap and top up the expansion tank with coolant until the level is slightly above the min mark. Install the expansion tank cap. Start and run the engine again until it reaches normal operating temperature. The thermostat will open and the upper radiator hose will become hot. Rev the engine up to 3,500 RPM for 30 seconds, then bring the engine back to idle for 30 seconds. Turn the engine off and wait another minute. Turn the engine off and let it cool completely. Remove the cap and add more coolant mixture to bring the level slightly above the min mark with the engine cool. Squeeze the upper radiator hose to expel air, then add more coolant mixture if necessary. Install the expansion tank cap. Start the engine, allow it to reach normal operating temperature, and check for leaks. Also, set the heater and blower controls to the maximum setting and check to see that the heater output from the air ducts is warm. This is a good indication that all air has been purged from the cooling system.